Miami Dolphins news and rumors coming at you here from Chat Sports. Mitchell Renz, Chase Sr. ready to break it all down for you. Justin Coleman signed a one-year deal worth up to $2.75 million with the Miami Dolphins. Last season, he played with the Detroit Lions. He had some ups. He had some downs. There's no doubt about it. Some people might blame the hamstring injury on some of the games that he played that maybe weren't so solid. But 11 games played last season, missed 5 due to a hamstring. The Miami Dolphins, one of the best defenses in all of football last year, they go out, they get a guy like Justin Coleman.
So I know the Bill Belichick coaching tree has been ridiculed. It's been ripped up in years past. But I will say this. Of the coaches who have come from the Bill Belichick tree, I really like Brian Flores. And I love the culture that he is instilling in Miami and the defense that he is building. Justin Coleman figures to be a big part of that. Look, for every defensive player that was playing for the Lions the last couple of seasons, they struggled because Matt Patricia, a Bill Belichick disciple, was hot garbage. Brian Flores is going to be able to get his hands on Justin Coleman. He's going to be able to put him into the lineup. And I think that Brian Flores is a type of coach. He's a type of culture builder where any player that kind of goes to Miami, they're going to flourish and they're going to thrive. And I think Justin Coleman has the potential to do that with Miami.
Now, obviously, he's not going to be the cornerback 1 or cornerback 2 because Miami, they have the best cornerback duo in the National Football League in Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. What I am curious to see what happens here is where Coleman necessarily is going to fit in terms of how many snaps he gets on the football field. I anticipate him being the starting nickel corner for this defense, but they also tried to work in Noah Igbinoghene, I know, a few times last year as well, who was drafted number 30 overall, first-round pick by Miami. He just really struggled. So when you see this type of deal, it's not a big-time move by any means, but the cornerback market so far in free agency has been a little quiet. Yep. It's been a little bit strange. And, I mean, you see a guy like Richard Sherman trying to sell himself. That just kind of goes to show you what we're dealing with here. But 1 year, $2.75 million is the deal for Justin Coleman. I want you guys to go down in the comments right now and type your grades. Grade this from A, B, C, D, or F. We all went to school, right? Hopefully. A is great, B is good, C is average, D is bad, F is failing. Where do you sit on this in terms of a grade?
I think this is a B signing. Sometimes you don't want to seek money. You want to seek fit. That's professionally and in sports. Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Justin Coleman. He now gets to fill in after the top 2 cornerbacks, maybe in the league. Definitely the best cornerback tandem in the NFL. Justin Coleman, great fit here. I give it a B.
So what exactly is Miami going to be getting here with Coleman? I mean, I do think he's one of the better slot corners in the National Football League. The key word is there, though, when healthy. When he's healthy, he's got that extra step. He's got that burst. You saw last season that he didn't have that burst. He didn't have those quick twitch muscles because the hammy was flaming up on him. He definitely provides a lot of depth for this Dolphins secondary. He can also contribute on special teams, but you mentioned multiple times that Brian Flores does a great job with the players that he's given, and that's exactly what they did last year. They were able to find a lot of talent and a lot of places that people kind of dismissed where they got the most out of them. So here is 2020 coverage stats, Chase. 77.8% completion percentage, 418 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 1 pass breakup, okay? What about 2019? This is not very good. I understand you're going to see the 13 pass breakups, but he was targeted a lot. The other thing I'll say is this. That Detroit Lions defense was bad, and they couldn't get any pressure. They couldn't get after the quarterback, so the corners, they had to cover for days. Guess what? Not that Miami is going to be great at really getting after the quarterback, but when you have 2 lockdown corners, I mean, he might get targeted a lot, but he's also going to have a lot more opportunities to make some plays here.
Amateur football viewers watch cornerbacks get picked on, and they say, that guy sucks. He's terrible. He can't play, without factoring in what's going on the defensive line. If the defensive line is able to generate pressure, that then allows cornerbacks and every member of the secondary to up their game a little bit and allows them to take some pressure off themselves. And also, they're just able to play better because they know that the defensive front is getting pressure, and the quarterback then doesn't have time to throw and pick on those corners. So Justin Coleman, yeah, the numbers might not be pretty, but if you're Miami, you're not paying him that much. Also, I like Miami's defensive line and their ability to generate pressure. I also like the scheme fit as well. And as I just mentioned, he's able to slide in after guys like Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, which also takes pressure off of him as well.
Another guy that actually might take some pressure off of is actually Noah Igbinoghene. And according to Pro Football Focus, he was rated 129 out of 129 in terms of cornerback play last year. It was a rough year for a rookie. However, being a rookie in 2020, I cannot imagine would have been very easy. You don't have training camp. You don't have a lot of this. So could he potentially start at nickel over somebody like Igbinoghene, who they obviously had high hopes for? Also, I thought it was pretty interesting earlier this year, Devonta Smith was asked, who's the best corner you ever went up against in college football? His response was Noah Igbinoghene. So how about this, Chase? Who do you think is going to start at nickel? If you think it's going to be JC type Justin Coleman, or no, if you think it's going to be Justin Coleman type JC, if you think it's going to be Noah Igbinoghene, I want you to type NI. I am a believer that it's going to be Justin Coleman, so I'm going to go ahead and type my JC.
I'm going to type my NI.
Okay.
I still think you go with upside here, and I think NI, that's the upside play.
Appreciate it. All right, let's get into the latest here around Adam Butler, and he is now the newest member of the Miami Dolphins. 2-year deal worth up to $9.5 million. The Miami Dolphins have been a team that said they were going to sit back. Brian Flores said he was going to be patient, and realistically, they have been pretty patient here in free agency, but now they go out and get a defensive tackle here. So Butler spent 2020 with the New England Patriots, so you're seeing that connection here with Flores. But if you want to talk about why this move I thought was ultimately made, the biggest reason, Miami lost Devon Godchaux, who ended up actually going to Miami on a 2-year, $16 million deal. So you needed to be able to fill that hole. You needed to be able to figure out a way how you could fill the need at defensive tackle. But, hey, if you played underneath somebody in New England, I mean, I think that's why this deal ended up happening.
To pivot off of that, I think familiarity is huge. I think it's huge in all of sports. It's huge in business. If you're working for a boss who you're familiar with and you have a lot of success under that boss, and then you leave and you're not as successful, what are you going to do if you have an opportunity to link back up with that boss that allowed you to excel? Hey, you're going to make that move and you're going to link back up with Brian Flores like Adam Butler is doing. And for him, that's a good payday for Adam Butler. For him to get somewhere in the neighborhood of like $4 or $5 million, that's pretty solid for Butler, and it's a good addition for this Dolphins defense.
So last season, 34 tackles, 4 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, but how exactly is he going to fit on this Dolphins front? One of the great things that Miami is able to do is realistically, they can bring the house, they can bring all these crazy blitzes because they know that Xavier and they know Byron Jones are going to lock it down. The other thing that they do really well is they can play 3-4. And they can play 4-3 front. So what we try to do here is predict what the 3-4 front is going to look like. You have Emmanuel Ogbah on the left side, who had just a phenomenal season this past year. Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, slot in Adam Butler, and then Andrew Van Ginkel, who look for him to be your Kyle Van Noy replacement, who I don't anticipate them going out and signing anyone. But now, this might not be something that lights up, the normal viewer's eyes. But if you're a Dolphins fan, you're like, okay, this is a pretty solid front four. I got a lot of young guys here, but I'm confident that these guys can get after the quarterback and force enough pressure, because if they do force some pressure, that's when the turnovers start happening. I mean, just look at Xavier Howard, 10 interceptions last year. So type your grade. Grade the Adam Butler signing. A, B, C, D, or F. We're going back to school here. I know for some of y'all, you're like, oh, man, you're really doing that to me. Yes, I am. A is great. B, good. C is average. D, or F. I'm going to go with the B grade as well. It's not spectacular. It's not a slam dunk. But, it's a nice little layup, and that still counts as 2.
I've been pretty consistent with B. I'm going B again because none of these signings have really, blown me out of the water, right? So I'm going B. Adam Butler on that defensive line, given the talent that he's going to join forces with, I think will bring the best out of his game as well. So B for me.
So what exactly is he going to be bringing to Miami? 10 sacks over the last 2 seasons, which is something that Miami obviously is going to continue to try to build upon. He was Patriots' best interior pass rusher this past season, which I do think is saying a lot considering the fact of the amount of opt-outs that they have. Sure, he probably wouldn't have had as much playing time if all the other players, which I believe they had 6 opt-outs, if they would have played. But he stepped up when New England needed him the most. 27 total pressures, which is impressive. And in 15 games last year, the 6 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 34 tackles. But how about this? Let's go back to 2019, right? 26 tackles, because this is when New England had, I'll say, the best defense in all of football. This is when they were absolutely just wrecking people on the defensive side of the football. 8 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 5 pass breakups. It's really hard to be able to find a player with his size, with his athleticism, who can also do so many different things, who also knows the coach and is actually only 26 years old. So I like what Miami did here. I like that they're still trying to go for it all, because this division, I know some people are underestimating, I think, New England. That defense is going to be legit.
Oh, yeah.
I can't count out Bill Belichick, but then you also have to deal with the Bills and Josh Allen. I think we can all count out the Jets, so I don't really think they're going to be in much running for anything. So you see me, I'm Mitchell Renz, That's Chase Sr. The dude that you don't see is the guy behind the screen pushing all the graphics, making sure that I look halfway decent and he looks great. His name is Sam Brown, and if you guys want to give him a follow on Twitter, we encourage you to do so. The two biggest reasons why you should go ahead and do it, first reason is this. If you go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter at SamBrownCS, we're going to give you a shout-out. The second biggest reason is this. When we do NFL mailbags, the guy who picks which questions that he puts up on screen, it's Sam. And I can guarantee you this, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter, your chances are probably going to be a little bit better. So currently he's at 933 followers. Coming up here a little bit later during our live show, during our NFL free agency coverage, we're going to be giving some shout-outs to people that follow Sam on Twitter. So he has 933. I'll give some shout-outs later. Again, his name is at SamBrownCS, and he's on Twitter. So seriously, go give my man a follow.